Choosing the right property and working out how much you should actually put into the real estate market from your hard-earned money is always a concern to people. I'm joined by the Director of Education from Positive Real Estate, Mrs. Tabitha Bright. Thank you so much for joining. So Tab, does it matter what type of properties investors should buy?
Absolutely. They need to be thinking about their personal situation. A classic example would be an off-the-plan purchase. If you're planning a family or something like that, you might need to be cognizant of when that property settles. If you're purchasing something in your super fund, you need to think about what type of property, preferably blue chip. If you're looking at doing a development, does your situation warrant that? Have you got enough funds? Can you manage any uncertainty in a development? So yes, you need to be really thinking about what property type fits your situation.
Absolutely. I think understanding the risk profile of the real estate market is so important. There is inherent risk, and then there is risk that you unnecessarily take on as a property investor. Inherent risk would be that a thing like the GFC, no one can forecast that. But getting involved in real estate and overextending yourself is something people need to be aware of. So Tab, talk to me about leverage. People have got a little bit of money, they've saved it up, now want to put it into the market. What's the best thing for them to do?
All right, Sam, they need to understand two things, your servicing and your borrowing power. Your servicing is essentially what the banks will lend you based on your assets and liabilities without getting too complex. Your borrowing power is if you have a deposit, let's say 100,000 because it's a nice round number, and you're looking at going into the market, you can choose to leverage at 80% and avoid mortgage insurance. With that, allowing for some costs for your stamp duty, etc., you'd be able to borrow around the 400k mark with $100,000. If you were to leverage a bit higher and utilise mortgage insurance, which doesn't benefit you, it benefits the bank, but it allows you to borrow higher. With that 90%, you could do around $660,000 worth of property roughly. So that extra leverage, yes, you pay the mortgage insurance, but that extra leverage allows you to capitalise on another $260,000 in the marketplace. Now, that $260,000 leverage, provided the market's doing what it should, when you invest, will far outstrip the growth on that, far outstrip the mortgage insurance you're paying, and it allows you maybe a better type of property in the market or to go into a major capital city. So I'm a big fan of leverage.
It makes sense. If you can put your money in a premium suburb, if you can actually capitalise more money into the market, well, you're going to get more exposure, you're going to get more upside, and if you choose the right suburb, the downside risk is fairly limited, which is great. I guess when it comes to buying interstate, a lot of people have a lot of fears. They love to buy in their own backyard. There's a mentality, I guess, growing up in Australia that you only buy what you know. Of course, real estate is now global. What do you think, or how do you coach people through buying interstate?
Well, I think one of the most common mistakes I see, Sam, is people doing what they know and not stretching themselves out of their comfort zones. So the classic story of an investor buying in their own backyard again and again and again, and then they're only subject to one market. So I coach, and my teams coach people through what it looks like to buy interstate, making sure you do your building and pest, making sure you talk to agents in the area and do your research. And worst case scenario, if you're really worried about it, nothing beats a quick plane trip up to the area where you can check it out yourself if you need to.
Absolutely. Real estate is certainly a global phenomenon. In Australia, there are so many different marketplaces. They all move differently. Even suburbs in cities move differently. So it's very important to spend the time and energy researching a marketplace. And like Tabitha said, if you need to feel comfortable and feel and touch and see a property, well, flights are pretty inexpensive these days. Guys, I'd love you to tune in to our next episode of the 6-week property transformation. We've got some more hot tips and strategies in our next session. Hope to see you then. You've just heard from one of our property experts, but it doesn't stop there. Property investing is a journey, and it's always good to take as much information as you can to apply it to the marketplace. Positive Real Estate's been holding information nights for the last 10 years on property investment. I'd encourage you, register your details so we can help you understand what is actually happening out in the marketplace. Spend an hour and a half of your time at one of our free events, register your details, and I hope to catch up with you soon.